I know at the end of my last video, I said I was going to make a Call of Duty one, but that video turned out to be too much for me to handle. It is upsetting to say this, but I will have to delay the time it will be posted. It will be worked on over time, but I do have to realize that I have limits. Also, where have I been? For small or newer channels, it's important to post more regularly, so how come I failed at that? Basically a bunch of personal reasons, such as, but not limited to, me telling my National Guard recruiter I'm trans. I live in America, so that was actually difficult and caused a lot of issues. Now that most of the issues are over though, this video finally has the chance to be worked on. But other than that sad news, check out these new PNGs. I have both my human and dragon forms with many different expressions. Aren't I cute? I even have a new background. These PNGs serve as a way to express myself without showing my actual face. What is that called? Gosh, I feel like there's something I can call these. Oh yeah, my persona, or Sona for short. There are a lot of things to consider when making your Sona. What it is for, what medium your Sona will be made in, such as 3D or 2D. Do you want your Sona to be accurate or fantasy based? Is there a world your Sona will be put into? There's just a lot to consider when making them. Contrary to a popular belief, your persona does not need to look exactly like you. A wonderful example of this are VTubers. VTubers have such beautiful models that often look nothing like them. Look at Shiabun from the hit agency Vichiban. No human has rabbit ears like his, and rabbit teeth. Actually, we can look at the whole group as examples. I will refrain from examining each design, however, because even with how much I love them and wish to meet them one day, I must carry on with this video. To start off, the biggest thing to keep in mind is how you will be making your persona. I will do much more talking about 2D since I can't 3D model objects, but generally all the same things should kind of apply. The only difference is your skill. If you are new to drawing or 3D modeling, then it is likely you want to lean towards a more simple design. That is completely okay. Your persona doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, I recommend to only give it as much detail as you find fun to draw or model. My human persona is simple, yet with every small detail, it doesn't look like a barren design. It's just simple. If you want to make your persona look like you, then all you have to do is make it look like you. You don't even have to give them clothing you actually have. I didn't have a purely orange sweater IRL at the time, yet I drew my persona with an orange hoodie just cause I have a ton of hoodies and orange is my favorite color. Another kind of tip for people who want to make more accurate personas is that you can change outfits if you want to. People obviously don't wear the same outfit every day, so if you have several outfits you like, go wild. It's okay as long as you don't mind making several outfits. This also applies to more fantasy personas. This is your art and your persona. Do what you want. No one can stop you. However, if your persona will be something representing your online accounts and wish to be more recognizable, then try to have some type of defining feature. This is something I will go more in depth about later. However, for people who want more fantasy type personas, I have a lot of tips. The first tip is to have fun! Your persona doesn't have to be realistic! Hell, look at my dragon design. I'm obviously not a dragon and I do not have a flat enough chest to confidently wear a shirt like this, but screw it! I think it looks nice, and as somebody who works out often, I absolutely do show off my small muscles every moment I can so those sleeves can say goodbye. The second tip is to not make your persona like how you would a character. What I mean by this is that you should not start with a blank slate and then work from there and give your persona its own personality, story, and design. A persona is supposed to represent you. You are the base. You can give your persona a backstory if it is based in a specific world or fandom, but it is still supposed to be you. For example, the dragon version of my persona is in fact based in a world of my own making. The world is called Acai, not acai though. I do love acai drinks from Starbucks. Acai is a fantasy world full of all types of species, such as but not limited to werewolves, nekos, demons, angels, goblins, dwarves, several animals designed by me, etc. The species focused on in the story I'm working on are dragons, however. I really love dragons and I always loved the idea of being able to fly, so after a while of rough drafts of my persona, I thought, I want to be a dragon. So I became one. There's even some lore when it comes to my persona that I dedicate a whole notebook to. The biggest thing to know is that my persona is still me. Even with all this lore and differences in looks, he still acts like me and helps me express myself in ways I can't in real life. Another tip to keep in mind is that if you have a persona online that will be seen by a bunch of people, it is best to have a sort of uniform for it. Make sure your persona is unique to you. Make it so that when people look at it, they think, oh hey, that's Blorbo! Or whatever your online name is. Examples for this are things such as my star necklace. This is the center point in my design that is very important to my lore. This necklace even transfers over to my dragon persona, which shows that it's something important. You also have to consider colors as well. Being known with a certain color is such a big thing! Like, when I was in the Dream SMP fandom, I know, it's sad and cringe, but as I was saying, every time I saw blue and green, all I could think about was Dream and George. Those two were really known for those colors, so my brain automatically connected them together. The big point I'm trying to make here is that if someone is able to look at a color and think of you, that is great, and infests people's minds like bugs. Just another way to be recognizable. To get some more thoughts on this, I decided to ask a fellow YouTuber how they came up with their persona and if they have any tips. Also, sorry for the drop in mic quality that's about to happen. The link to his channel will be in the description below. If you like art and animation, then really check out his series Spike and Bob. Okay. So, questions. Okay, questions. Okay, little gay boy.
What are the questions?
So, what is your persona?
My persona, my little guy, my persona. My persona is a zombie guy with a bag over his head. He's got his little brain exposed.
I see. And how did you come up with this silly guy?
The silly guy was like, okay. He started out as a comic character, comic book character named Noah. Noah. It was either one. I forget. It was probably Noah. And he just wore a bag over his head. That was his shtick. He just had a bag over his head. And he's like a little bit. He was meant to be more of an character, but all the art I did of him was like him crying because it was meant to be like some angst book when I was 12 and thought I could make something good. But then it started slowly morphing. The comics started slowly morphing. I saw people. They said his design looks like that one guy, the one dude from Villainous. And I was like, I gotta make that distinction. I gotta get that out of here. So I started adding more to him until he became what he is right now. And that comic book got canceled, but I liked the design so much, so it became the Squinty.
It became you.
It became me.
Alright, how many iterations did your persona go through?
Probably like 4, I want to say, because there's him with a bag on his head, just the regular guy. Then there's the black and white version of him having a bag on his head, when I was kind of dual using him as my Sona and a character. And then there was the one where I finally gave him zombie and had his brain exposed and whatever. And then there's this one where I gave him a tuxedo like a tuxedo and bow tie instead of a sweatshirt, because my idea was that I wanted him to look more like a game show host or a businessman or something. Because I guess in lore, quote unquote, it's not really lore. In my channel's lore, I always thought of it as all the animations I make are like recorded. They're like filmed and whatever. So all the in my mind, all the characters exist within the show's universe. So like Spike and Bob exists within the Spike and Bob universe, and then there's kind of like the out of character versions of them who are the kind of actors for the characters, and Squinty's their boss.
I see, like the actor I use.
Yeah, exactly, that type shit. And I think that's funny. I think that's funny. I want to do something with him in the future. I have the script, that has been sitting in my Google Docs written for quite some time now that I kind of like. I just don't know if I'm going to use it. But yeah. Yeah.
And lastly, any tips for people trying to make their own personas?
So don't do it. Don't do it. It's awful. It's an awful experience. It's not fun. People who say they had fun making their persona are liars and cheats. They're lying to you. It's not a fun thing to do. If you're gonna do it though, you don't have to. It doesn't have to like. You could and maybe you should use things that are like kind of related to you, but it doesn't have to be like that. You can just make whatever the you want. Like this soda I have has nothing representing me in the slightest, but it's still my soda. So just have fun with it. Yeah. More the lesson: either don't do it or be like me.
Yeah, you heard it, fellas. Be like them. Be like them.
This guy. You'll do well. A nerd, yeah.
And gay.
Oh, the jury's still out on that. They're not. No, they're not. This dude, don't make a sauna. Don't do it.
Well,
it'll always go bad.
You
heard it here.
If you have any notes or tips for making personas, I greatly encourage you to share them down below in the comment section. Hopefully this time there will be less people essentially calling me neurodivergent in the comments, even though they may be right. Who knows? This has been Cody, and I'll see you next time.